Hello and good morning to this Stardust webinar, Stardust and POCITYF webinar, because today we're pleased to welcome the POCITYF Smart Cities project. And what we'll be doing today is comparing replication strategies and talking about the challenges and the lessons learned from both those projects. Just before we go over and introduce the panelists, I'd just like to mention that as Stardust is ending very soon, at the end of March, we'll be organizing a final event on the 28th and 29th of February in Pamplona. There is information available on the Stardust website, on the news, and through the social media channels, and there you will find a link to register. Okay, so I just wanted to get that piece of information out right from the start. So I'm pleased to welcome our three panelists today. Okay, first of all, we have Elena Conte from Energy at Work, and you've been working on the POCITYF project. So you're a software engineer working as a researcher with technical expertise in software development applied to Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, data analysis, and visualization. We have Michael Heidenreich, who's working as part of Greenovate on the Stardust project. So you deal especially with marketing, market research in the fields of renewable energy sources, energy efficiency, and renewable sources in general. And you've been highly involved in the Stardust replication work package, alongside our third speaker today, Laura Nieto, again from Greenovate, and you're a project manager with a European projects and territory development background, and you have experience in a number of European projects, including Erasmus, Horizon, and Interreg. So welcome to all three of you. Just before I hand the floor to our first speaker, Elena, just a word on the format. So the idea today is that our panelists explain the replication, they give their presentations, and then we'd like to sort of have a discussion and try to make it as interactive as possible with the Stardust follower cities, which Cluj, Derry, and what's the last one? Kozani, sorry. So it would be good if you could come in there. You can use for questions and things, you can use the chat. But also you'll be able to speak directly, okay? And we'll sort of see how that goes there. So, okay, I'd like to hand the floor to you, Elena. I'll just make you a presenter. I've just lost the icon. Here we are. Okay, you should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. So let me just share the screen, and hopefully you are now seeing the presentation.
Yes, okay, we can.
So, great. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity of being here. So I'm Elena Conte, and today I will describe you the replication strategy that we adopted in the POCITYF project. But first, what is POCITYF? So POCITYF is a European-funded project focused particularly on positive energy blocks and districts. The aim is to create 4 positive energy blocks in our 2 lighthouse cities, and to foster the replication in our 6 observer cities, also named fellow cities. So our project aims to cover the aspect of the positive energy blocks and districts from a variety of contexts, starting from the political one, urbanistic, social, technological, and economic context, with a particular focus on the cultural heritage sites. So a few numbers. Basically, we are 46 partners from across Europe. There are 6 cities involved in the project. So as I was saying, 2 lighthouses that are Évora in Portugal and Alkmaar in the Netherlands, and 6 fellow cities that are Granada in Spain, Bari in Italy, Celje in Slovenia, Újpest in Hungary, Ioannina in Greece, and Vidor in Denmark. We have a total of around 73 innovative elements or technologies that we grouped into 4 energy transition tracks. We named that as it is. And we are applying these solutions into 4 positive energy blocks, 3 in Évora and 1 in Alkmaar. And all our fellow cities have identified some replication areas inside their context in which to analyze the replication potential of the work conducted in the lighthouses. The project is still ongoing. It will last for 6 years in total, and we have a total budget of 22.5 million euros. So our 4 transition tracks are mainly 4, let's say, main topics. The first one is indeed on positive energy buildings and districts. The difference is only on the granularity of the subjects identified. The second one regards peer-to-peer energy management and storage. The third one is on e-mobility and mobility solutions. And the last one is on citizen engagement and social innovation. So particularly on replication, as today's session, actually, our aim is to foster the collaboration between the lighthouses and the fellow cities inside the project to enhance and highlight the importance of the replication plans in the fellow cities. We aim also to watch the demonstration work happening in the lighthouses to learn and build the capacity of the observed cities. We aim to exploit a set of learning methods developed in the lighthouses through webinars, study tours, documents, and other types of initiatives that I will describe in a couple of slides. Then each fellow cities will define their own replication plan with a particular focus on a City Vision 2050 with a future, let's say, plan to implement and scale up the solutions implemented in the lighthouse cities. So in particular about our strategy, we began at the beginning of the project, we began with an analysis of other similar smart cities and communities projects with the aim to identify if and how the fellow cities eventually managed to reach tangible results and how. We discovered that only a few fellow cities were able to concretely implement something in their context after the project ends in particular. Only some base cases that we found that are La Valletta, there was a fellow city grown smarter and was able to develop after the investigation, of course, of their charging infrastructure to implement their first car sharing scheme. And Leipzig, there was a fellow city in Triangulum, and now it is a lighthouse in Sparks, the Sparks project. So this analysis had led us with the definition of our 3 main objectives for our replication strategy for the POCITYF fellow cities, that are mainly the creation of the replication plans and city vision for 2050 for all the fellow cities, which is indeed one of the objectives of the project. Then secondly, the approval of the plan from the City Council as a set of guidelines and practices for future tendencies when planning some urban interventions. And lastly, the adoption of the plan as a set of technical specifications from the smart city, including that also local stakeholders and company should acknowledge all the innovative solutions that are currently available on the market. This has led us to the definition of our really particular, let's say, replication roadmap that we are still following it. So basically, we began with a definition of a benchmark for all the fellow cities, including a general description of their context, the replication area, the challenges and their needs in terms of energy savings, energy costs, savings, etc. and also the identification of a preliminary list of stakeholders to involve in their work towards the City Vision 2050. Then we moved on to a second and more concrete phase of the replication roadmap, and this particularly focused on the capacity building inside the fellow cities. So basically, each work group built in each fellow cities, which is formed by the policymakers or the municipal workers, along with local stakeholders and citizens, is watching the work that is currently ongoing in the lighthouses. And we have a lot of initiatives in order to deliver as much information as possible to a wide variety of context and topics. And they are learning and analyzing the results in the perspective on the replication in their own context. Apart from that, which is more, let's say, on a technological and methodological perspective, the fellow cities are conducting a financial and administrative analysis. So they are also comparing the results obtained in the lighthouses with their own context, which is, of course, are different from each other. And also they are including some social and financial indicators that are strictly dependent on the content. We are now in the POCITYF project. There is still 1 year left, and we are, let's say, iterating in the pink rectangle, which is actually a cycle that will last until the end of the project. The final part, but is in black for a reason, is because the implementation and monitoring of the actual solutions in the fellow cities, it is something that is outside the context of the project, because the fellow cities do not have the possibility of the budget of the role to implement anything during the project. But of course, they are more than welcome to implement those on separate initiatives or afterwards the end of the project. So now I'm going to present you some of the initiatives that we have launched as Replication Manager in order to build the capacity of our fellow cities. One of the first and most important activities that we have always organized and will still organize in the future are knowledge transfer workshops that were physical or remote events in collaboration with the lighthouses and the other partners of a consortium aimed to transfer methodological and procedural aspects, knowledge, and lessons learned on the demonstration activities on the lighthouses. In the picture, you can see when we visited Ujpest, which is one of the fellow cities, in last February. Another initiative that we launched from a technical perspective is the creation of technical documents aimed to present the fellow cities with a catalog of the solutions implemented in the lighthouses, to summarize all the most important indicators, performance indicators, KPIs, and details on the implementation done in the lighthouses, to have a quick consultation for them to investigate which solutions to include in their plans. This is actually one of the examples of the documents that we created in collaboration with our partners of the consortium. Another tool that we developed is an information and communication tool aimed to give the possibility to the fellow cities to simulate the positioning of the solutions on their city maps, and also have an estimation or simulation of the energy savings, costs, and all the KPIs related to the simulated scenario, and also to foster the discussion with local citizens and stakeholders. This is an example of the tool. This is the one done for the lighthouses, but there will be also the version customized for the fellow cities. So indeed, each fellow city will have its own map on the platform. And on the side, you can see a list of all the KPIs or relevant indicators related to the scenario simulated on the map. Other more general activities that we carried out until now as part of POCITYF we organized several meetings for the replication to better support the fellow cities in their track, let's say in their path towards the replication plans. We encourage them to form and collaborate with their local work group to make their replication plans more concrete for the future. Also, we collaborate, as in this case, actually, with other sister projects at the European level. For example, we organize some sessions with the IRIS Response and Sparks project in order to further exchange and benefit from the mutual exchange of knowledge and lessons learned. And lastly, we create a lot of documents, presentations, deliverables, templates, as the fact sheet that I showed you, and reports to further support the knowledge transfer process. And lastly, our main focus for today's session, so the pros of our approach, as we have seen so far. The workshops are really important occasions to transfer the knowledge from the lighthouses to the fellow cities. And also, especially the physical ones were really key opportunities to let the fellow cities observe in reality the work carried out in the lighthouses and trigger also other projects after seeing the benefits of the installation in the lighthouses. Also, of course, the knowledge transfer is helping the fellow cities to build a very solid knowledge about not only technical, but only methodological and procedural aspects of replication, but more in general of a smart city, because we are also focusing, yes, on lesson learned and results, but also on challenges and obstacles eventually faced by the lighthouses. It is really important to coordinate all the fellow cities and partners working on replication to prevent any risk well in advance. Also, it is important to consider the point of view from the lighthouses because they are, let's say, the main observers of these types of projects. So it's really important to tailor initiatives, events, and workshops based on their own requirements and needs. And also the documents and templates that are created should be easy to compilate and really fast to read in order to maximize the impact of the effort produced. Some of our cons are indeed linked to this, as the too much detail and technical documents or the fact sheets might be complex to understand because some of the partners do not have enough technical competence to understand this technology properly. Also, of course, the partners and the municipalities are involved in other projects in parallel. So if there are too many activities, too many documents to fulfill, the partners might have some problems in collaborating actively and following the project along. And also, lastly, it is a really common problem. The fellow cities do not have dedicated budget to involve local citizens and stakeholders. And also, if there are other bigger projects running in the city, the perception of POCITYF project, but in general, these types of project might be smaller because there are bigger structural and more important measures happening in the city at the same time. This concludes my presentation. If there are any questions, I guess there is the discussion panel afterwards. So now I can give the floor to Laura.
Okay. Thank you, Elena, for that. Yes, we'll be able to talk together, discuss things after the presentations, but I was just wondering whether you could answer one question that did arrive during your presentation. Absolutely. From Andrea Galbadon Moreno, who's asking what metrics or methods are employed to assess the effectiveness of knowledge transfer during the workshops. So how do you sort of assess you know, the effectiveness of that?
There is no numerical, let's say, value that we used to assess, at least not yet. Of course, the degree of participation and involvement of the fellow sitting during this session is something to keep into consideration. But more in particular, we have seen that the fellow cities, after seeing the work currently happening in the lighthouses, they decided to widen their replication areas to consider other types of buildings or projects in their own context, being them inspired by the positive results gained by the lighthouses in their own demonstrations. I hope this might answer the question.
Okay, thank you. There are a couple of more questions there, but I think we can perhaps leave them until afterwards, and they will form part of the sort of general discussion. There is one question. Somebody, Renee Peters, is asking, what are the abbreviations on your slide 2? I don't know whether you've...
Maybe I tried to describe them while speaking, but basically LAC is Lighthouse City, Fellow City is FC, and maybe RP, Replication Plan. I don't remember if I used any other abbreviation. I'm sorry for that.
Okay, thank you for that. So I'm aware that there are other questions coming up. Oh, there's some more abbreviations: IS, IE, and
Integrated
ET.
Solutions, Innovative Elements. I'm sorry if I use these. There are a lot of acronyms indeed. Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple of other questions, but we'll leave those for later then. So I suggest we hand the floor to, I think it's Michael, you're up next, and Laura, you'll be sharing your screen.
I will start with a little introduction, and then I'm going to leave the floor to Michael. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect then. Great. So first of all, I would like to really thank Icons, Mark, Ilaria, Chiara, all of you, because you're doing a great job with this webinar series. I think it's important. And then I would like to say as well that we are very happy to be able to celebrate this webinar together with POCITYF, because it's always insightful and interesting to be able to compare different methodologies, different ways of seeing the same goals, right? So thanks for accepting also being together today and working together in this collaborative webinar. I think I should start by introducing myself a tiny bit. I am Laura Nieto. I am a project manager at Greennovate Europe. And I am here today with Michael Heidenreich, who is actually one of the members of our network. Since Greennovate, it's a European network, and we work on sustainability projects with a really clear objective of implementing innovative solutions to get a more sustainable world, right? This is one of the projects, STARDUST, in which we are working, and we collaborate not only with Michael, but also with Clube, which is the bioeconomy and environment cluster of Western Macedonia, and they will be present also in our presentation. And today, we would like to introduce a little bit our methodology in terms of replication activities, because this is the work package we are leading. We would like to do so first with a general introduction of the project, then with methodology and how this path has been going. And later we will be giving the word to the 3 follower cities, so they can complement a tiny bit with their own experience. And just to finish, we will conclude with some conclusions and some ideas towards the future. So I will start presenting then what is STARDUST. So Stardust, as you already probably know, it's a Horizon 2020 project on smart cities, and it brings together different European cities. The objective is to implement models for smart, high efficient, intelligent, and citizen-oriented cities. So what is the most important to keep in mind today? Well, we have three main objectives and a fourth one. So the three main objectives is to develop ICT solutions for smart cities, to improve mobility, and as a third pillar, we have energy, and we are quite focused on district heating. But these three elements cannot be separated from the stakeholder engagement and citizen engagement activities that are also very important, that have been very important all along the projects. We are about 30 partners, and in terms of cities participating in this project, we have 3 lighthouse cities, which are Trento in Italy, Pamplona in Spain, and the third one, Tampere in Finland. We are going to be more focused today on our follower cities, which is the equivalent to fellow cities for POCITYF. And we have Derry from Northern Ireland. We have also Cluj-Napoca in Romania, and last but not least, Kozani in Greece. So after this brief introduction, I'm gonna leave the floor to Michael, who has been responsible for the replication activities in Stardust project, and he will present this beautiful slide.
Thank you very much, Laura. After this quite comprehensive introduction, I come now more to the detail of the scope of the today webinar that is dealing with replication strategy. A little bit to the history. So we started about 5 years ago with this process by installing workshops, so-called capacity building workshops. We, the Greenweight team and its affiliated members like Club and myself, we visited Cluj-Napoca, Derry, and Kozani in inaugural capacity building workshops in order to explain the purpose of the replication plan and to figure out the baseline solutions they have already installed or intend to implement on short term. So that was, let's say, the data gathering at the beginning of this process. Later on, we had further capacity building workshop by inviting also speakers from the lighthouse cities, as well as from other projects that are more advanced and even completed for the time being in this family of smart city projects. Stakeholders have been involved physically on this workshop, and during the pandemic, then in form of online meetings. So we became more and more used to use these tools as everybody, and try to allow knowledge transfer towards local stakeholders able to understand English, which is in most cases with the local networks of our follower city given. So those are representatives of the universities, of associations, of companies that are close or owned by the municipalities, and so on. And so then we developed these replication plans, first of all as individual replication plans per follower city, and the last 6 months after its completion, we have synthesized it and have have compiled and consistent and comprehensive version for the European Commission in order to present what we have done the last 5 years and what are the results and the main conclusion we have drawn out of it. In parallel, we have also followed within the follower cities other activities. One is to go for climate neutral scalable cities. So Cluj-Napoca and Kozani are one of 100 selected cities in Europe that follow this pathway to decarbonize till 2030. Derry in Northern Ireland is a little bit different. So they have a more regional oriented strategy to decarbonize the city till 2045. Next slide, please. Okay. I think you have, that is the 4th slide. Please, slide 3. Is that right?
This is slide 3. This is slide 4.
Okay, then it's fine. So we have found some interconnection points among the municipalities, the follower cities. So that was part of our analysis. On one hand, finding interconnection points with lighthouse city. For instance, by coincidence, Cluj-Napoca has purchased similar electric buses like Tampere has done it, so they could learn from experiences even under fully complete different climate conditions, and of course, let's say infrastructure conditions. So the local context is always to consider, but their inspiration that they received, and also what to take care with the energy management system and all this kind of technical stuff. So that was one of these exchange of information we could make. And then the other ones are more related to the overall goal of the smart city initiative of this family. They are dealing with eco buildings, with a smart mobility, and increase of renewable energy resources. And as already Laura mentioned, with stakeholder engagement. We have another particularity, and I guess Anna will tell us a little bit more about it. She's one representative of the municipality of Derry, about what she could learn from Pamplona's new district heating system, which is more, let's say, established, much more established of course, in Central Europe and in the Scandinavian countries rather than in the south, and obviously, and not also not in Northern Ireland. Next slide, please.
Yeah. So here we start with some of the strategies, or in other words, some of the initiatives that have been taken by the follower cities. We will start with Cluj-Napoca, and here we have the 7 key interventions that they have been working on since 2011 towards climate neutrality in 2030. As you can see, they have been focusing on urban regeneration, also on the renovation of buildings, both public and also private and commercial, since buildings are responsible in a big part from for the emissions, carbon emissions. The extension of the infrastructure of electric charging stations and benefits for electric car users. We will see some examples also in the next slide. The improvement of public spaces and its quality. And this is linked to the Walkable City program, an update of parking area policy, which is of course focused for citizens. And last but not least, enriching the green transport infrastructure and the expansion of green areas in the city. So here we have some examples, some pictures of these implementations. As you can see, there are some apartments that have been rehabilitated. There are charging stations as well, bike mobility systems, public LED. So here we have some of the examples, but maybe we have in the room Melania Vidal, who is actually a civil servant from the city of Cluj-Napoca, and maybe she wants to provide with some complements of information regarding these implementations. Is Melania in the room? I
Hello.
cannot see the... Hi, Melania, thank you.
How are you? Everything is nice. What I've heard until now.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, maybe I was wondering if you had some complements of information for these examples of implementations undertaken in Cluj.
Yes, I will give you some details about the related to the images that you have there, related to apartment blocks rehabilitation. It's a thermal rehabilitation for public and private buildings. Until now, already finished 100 blocks with around.
I think we cannot hear her anymore.
I'll just check what's happening.
Melania, are you still there?
Yes.
We couldn't hear you anymore for some reason. Sorry.
I don't know. I did not touch anything.
It's okay. We can hear you now, so you can just keep going.
Okay. So
Thank
until
you.
now have been rehabilitated private and public buildings, around 100 with through European programs, around 100 blocks with around 4,000 apartments already done and in preparation or work, maybe work in progress, we can say in today. Another 100 blocks of apartments. And the objective of the city is that all the blocks in the city to be rehabilitated. And also the relating the heating system. Any new construction is a local, decision and law. That any new construction has to be built with and connected to the district heating, not individual boilers for each apartment, how it is in the majority of cases now in Cluj-Napoca. Okay, related to the EV charging stations, we have in high traffic public places for electric vehicles around 44 charging station, public charging station, free of charging, only the parking is paid for cars, scooters and bicycles. Related to the picture that you see with the bike sharing system, we have a public bike sharing system. It was launched a little bit before the project. In the meantime, it had a period when it stopped, but it's since 2021 it's working again. Or also having an app, Cluj City Bike app. Using the bike, this system supposes that you can use a bike for free for 1 hour, and after docking it at the docking centers that you can find in the app, after 5 minutes you can take another hour the bike. And also to sustain this non-polluting transportation the city of Cluj continuously, develop and extend the bike lanes, taking into account the principles of continuity and connection between neighborhoods, connecting with the center of the city. Okay, rehabilitation of hospital Clujana here in Cluj. It was a smart, deep renovation with an investments of 5 million euro with the purpose of improving the energy efficiency of the one building of the hospital. Also we have implemented during the period of the project digital solution of urban mobility with contactless payment, also various apps to use the non-polluting means, to help the use and to support the use of non-polluting transportation means, like bus Cluj-Napoca that I also use. It's showing the online and live the position of the bus that you are waiting for. Also, the entire public transport fleet have been equipped with GPS, with also with this purpose. Green educational building. The case study that we have is Onisifor Ghibu High School, and it has been have been built a new building with 33 classrooms, 9 laboratories, modernized school, gym equipped with automatic consumption management system, building energy BEMS, building energy management system, photovoltaic panels, LED lighting, and is the first school in Romania to be certified by BREEAM.
Okay.
Also related to public LED lighting, in present it's around 40% of the public lighting system it's with LED, and the target is that by 2030 we have 100% smart LED street lighting. Also in buildings, the municipality is going to adopt this policy.
Okay.
I think that I have covered.
Yeah, thank you so
images.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all the details. I believe that maybe there might be some questions coming up after these explanations, but we will tackle the questions and the discussion after the presentation of the rest of cities. Thank you very much, Melania.
Okay, thank you.
So let's keep going. Let's move on. Now it's the time for dairy. In dairy, we wanted to highlight that they are working on their strategy of Northwest Regional Energy Decarbonization Plan, with target of achieving net zero carbon emission by 2045. And as you can see on the screen, you have 5 key objectives. First one is the smart energy management, which means that there will be control and coordination of regional energy assets to minimize energy bills and unlock new revenue streams. Second, the renewable generation and energy storage, which means to maximize the potential for green renewable generation, but also to efficiently storage this energy throughout all the region. Third, low carbon transport, which is aligned with the objectives of the STARDUST project, since the goal is to reduce carbon emissions thanks to better and greener transport means. Low carbon heating, enabling the transition from fossil fueled heating technologies to low carbon emission free heating solutions. And finally, the energy efficiency, which means increasing the efficiency of energy used within buildings across the region, and minimize the consumption and to reduce the associated carbon emissions. So very briefly, we have here some examples of implementation. There have been some capacity building workshops organized by the follower cities. The last one took place in Derry in June, and there they had the chance to exchange more particularly with the city of Tampere in terms of district heating, smart street lighting, and also ICT solutions and monitoring. And here we have some ideas of the feasibility into the new district heating system for Derry. But maybe if Anne Art, who is a civil servant from Derry, the city of Derry, if she's in the room, maybe she can give us some insights, some inputs on this implementation action, implemented actions in Derry. Is Anne Art in the room?
I've just tried unmuting everybody in the audience.
Hello.
Hello.
There you are. Good. Go ahead, Anne.
Hi there. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, if you just want to go back, Laura, just to the previous slide,
yeah,
just to give an overview. Yeah, as Laura has said, we did develop a regional energy strategy several years ago between Derry City Strabane Council and Donegal County Council, which is in the Republic of Ireland. We would work and collaborate quite a lot on different projects. To date, though, we don't have a detailed action plan, you know, with tangible outputs. Really, just in the absence of long-term budgets. You know, we do have a general decarbonisation plan. At the minute, though, we're prioritising our invest to save projects, which is really about reducing our energy bills and reducing our energy consumption. As regards our plan for retrofitting and decarbonisation buildings, that looks to be longer term until we have more finance available. We do have different green buildings in the area, but in terms of building decarbonisation as a whole, we do need some more funding available to be able to put that tangible action plan in writing. Jeff, you just want to move on to the next one, Lyra?
Yeah.
So as part of our replication plan, as has been already explained, we've been able to learn a lot about different smart solutions throughout the project. One of the things that is probably the most tangible output from our replication plan for Derry has been some feasibility work into a potential new district heating system for Derry. As you're probably aware, district heating in UK and Ireland makes up a very tiny percentage of our overall heating sources. And there's now a lot of work ongoing by the governments in terms of policy development, because we see the potential in developing district heating. The Republic of Ireland would be a bit further ahead of us in the north. Great Britain, particularly England, has developed quite a bit of policy and regulation in district heating, and they're bringing in zoning, but actually so far it doesn't really include Northern Ireland, and the district heating grants don't include Northern Ireland, which can actually often be the case. So we kind of fall in between the Republic of Ireland and UK and miss out on a lot of funding. So I hope that's now going to change, now that you're maybe aware that our government is now up and running again. It's due to sit again either within the next few days. The DUP has done a deal with the government, which is great news. So yeah, probably the most tangible output is some feasibility work into district heating for Derry. There's a full chapter in the replication plan. To not go into too much detail, we do see, as regards to heat density map, we do see commercial viability in developing district heating. And really the main finding from the feasibility is that it would probably be most viable to develop a district heating system at our main hospital site. It would probably be phase 1, which would be the equivalent of decarbonising about 4,000 homes. The original finding was that we would take waste heat from a biomass power plant, but that initial network would be 9 kilometres long. And it turns out, after some further meetings, that the temperature is just a bit lower than what we would need, for such a distance travelling from the biomass plants to the hospital site. So it's now looking like we would build the energy centre closer to the Elton Hospital site, with phase 2 benefiting the locality around the hospital site, benefiting homes, public buildings. So work is ongoing into that, but we're finding it a very beneficial output of the replication plan. So, and then yes, with a very successful capacity building workshop in June with representatives from nearly all the government departments and local councils, and there's actually a plan to hold a couple more webinars. Realistically, it'll probably be March, April time. I'll be able to share the final outputs of the STARDUST project. So yeah, if anybody has any queries, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Okay, let's keep moving because we are running out of time. We already spent longer than we were supposed to, but we have a last city that is Kozani in Greece. So here we have some of the measures that they have been undertaking at the municipal level. So Kozani serves as municipal building manager. That means that they are carrying out different activities such as monitoring yearly municipal energy and maintenance costs. They are also giving priority to the reinforcement and construction of new buildings and investment plans. In terms of stakeholder and citizen engagement, they have been organizing local capacity buildings as well as the other follower cities. Also brainstorming workshops to initiate and plan the design of new activities and implementations in their municipality. Sorry. As a complement, they also have been working with different surveys where they got insights from citizens in terms of socioeconomic performing, and publishing tenders and contracting selected enterprises. And last but not least, they are also in charge inside Clube, which is the cluster of bioeconomy and environment of Western Macedonia. As I said before, they are working very closely with COSANI, and they are the leaders of the stakeholder engagement activities in our work package of replication actions. So there was a big role also with COSANI in terms of awareness raising and informing via municipal communication channels about all the different measures towards zero emissions. And here we have again some implementation highlights. I'm not going to go into the details since I think we have Thanos in the room, and I think that he will explain this much better than I can. So if
Laura,
Thanos is in...
hi, good
Hello.
Thank you, Mark, for a great organization of the webinar. First of all, at this point, I would like to mention the importance to decarbonize the different sectors of the municipal and of COSANI and the region of Western Macedonia, since it used to be the vast pillar of the electricity generation for the whole country due to the presence of the lignite power plants. 5 of the 6 total lignite power plants of the country were located at COSANI. And nowadays, due to the coal phase-out process that Greece is running on, only 1 still remains under operation. So it is very important for our region not only to decarbonize the electricity generation through the implementation of the renewable energy sources like photovoltaics and wind turbines, but to decarbonize the other sectors of our economy and our, let's say, daily operation like municipal buildings, mobility sector. So there are some implementation highlights regarding the different implementation actions on facilities like municipal schools, like indoor sports halls, and the implementation of electrical vehicle cars and charging stations, both for municipal vehicles and for the individuals and the individual electrical vehicles. At this point, I would like mostly to highlight some barriers that COSANI faced during the implementation, for example, of the renovation of the different municipal school and kindergarten buildings. Briefly, some funding issues like delays during payment or inadequate funding from EU and Greek national funds. Some cost overruns and material cost due to, especially after the COVID period and the Russian-Ukraine war. Some constructural issues like delays or misunderstanding on the contracts. The regulatory compliance was also a severe issue. For example, different building zones, different zone regulations for the different areas of the municipality. Another great issue that we found during the implementation of the actions was the workforce availability, and especially some skilled workers to implement some very innovative actions in the school, like management systems or very advanced cooling and heating systems. And some severe weather conditions, because COSANI is located in the northern part of Greece, so the winter sometimes becomes really heavy. We have snowing, heavy rains, and this led to the delay of the project, and as a consequence, delay on the payments, and so on. And for example, and another issues during the implementation of the electrical vehicle stations was some very high initial costs and the lack of funding. Some potential upgrades that the electrical grid may need. Complex permitting processes during the implementation and the constructions of the vehicles, of the electrical vehicle stations, because the Greek legislation is really complex regarding this issue. But due to our experience and the experience of the Lighthouse City on the framework of the STARDUST projects, we try to find some solutions and to implement them in the different, let's say, in the future actions. Let me summarize some examples. to, for example, to build trust between the community and the involved stakeholders and members of the community. Because, for example, in the case of the renovation of the municipal schools or the municipal kindergartens, many different individuals were involved, from the teachers or the authorities to the parents, the kids of the school. So we have to be very careful, because during the renovation process, the school may was open. So we have to be very careful, because due to the presence of the kids, to hire or to try to find solutions how to skill and reskill the workforce of the city, because Kozani aims to follow an ambitious project, Kozani 2030, to become to be one of the 100 European cities that will be climate neutral. So Stardust is a very good initiative to follow all these, let's say, lessons learned and all these good practices to continue to our this ambitious goal.
Okay, thanks very much, Thanos, for your contribution. I think that we have just some conclusions and we are done. So after these conclusions, we can start the exchange time. Michael, would you like to finish our presentation? We cannot hear you.
Yeah.
But now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So thank you very much. Yeah, you have heard about some challenges that our municipality face already beforehand. So as already said, it will never happen that you have a replication like a copy paste from one site to another site. So you always have to consider the local context and also the habit. And here we have learned, and from all participating cities how to, let's say, engage investors as well as important stakeholders in going in the same direction, and with the municipality as moderator in this discussion, with no, let's say, personal interest of like a company. That is a good, let's say, a model to pave the way towards decarbonization. Also, the municipality can arrange easily with our municipal communication channels possibilities to get in contact with the citizens in order to get feedback on solutions they would like to go for, and what are the priorities, and to get support to come to a certain decision, because we are talking always about or often about public money. So therefore, it is a quite sensitive issue. And with a good local governance, it is, of course, let's say, you can establish the trust of your society in measures proposed. The financial dimension is always an issue. Due to our capacity building workshop, we had the possibility to exchange other ways like crowdfunding or green bonding. to be introduced by some of our partners to the representatives of the municipalities. That was quite good in order to look for alternative options to the mainstream, let's say. And sometimes it is a small action, easily installed, that may happen then to overcome the gap, the remaining gap, to make it happen. So that is what we have figured out, and we will complete it. So we complete the replication plan, which is already provided to the Commission, with some addition within our final report that will be also available to the public after its release. So that's what I have to add. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that, Michael, and thank you for all the contributors. Time is going by very, very quickly, and I know that some countries are 1 hour ahead of Central European time. So let's go on to sort of questions and answers. Just to sort of kick things off, there's been a question in the question box for a little while by Michael Edelstam, who is asking this: when looking for replication opportunities, what have been the main barriers for fellow cities or follower cities, and are there any clear patterns between different countries and city types? So I think in some of your presentations, we've talked about legislation, policy, financing, capacity as well. But I don't know who this question could be given to, but are there sort of patterns between the countries and city types? Maybe this is for you, Michael, as you might have an overview.
In principle, there is no pattern. You have to understand, let's say that legal aspects are often a little bit complicated. We have federal states, we have central states in the European Union, and we have the subsidiarity principle, which takes a lot of time. So there is no patent, but the more close you are to the, let's say, to the spirit or to the vision of the directive, the better. That is one thing. In our case, within the follower cities, we have had different collaboration between the stakeholders and the municipality. So in STARDUST, we have a club as intermediary to the municipality of Kozani. So helping to, let's say, translate project results in Pamplona or in Trento or in Tampere into something that is can be used and also in Kozani. So that can be a good way, let's say, to enrich or to improve the skill of the staff of the municipality in order to accelerate the process, for instance, to install energy communities or to implement the renewal of public buildings. And with these acting as a harbingers, the municipalities are also a kind of green vehicle for private investors by anticipate saying, okay, we invest, for instance, in smart mobility, but you can make the business in future out of it with the then installed infrastructure. So that is what we found within our collaboration.
Okay, thank you for that. So hopefully that answers your question, Michael. If there are, time is going by, so if you've got any other questions, you can either sort of turn on your microphone and ask them directly, or you can use the chat box. Don't know whether there are any others. Okay. Well, I think that can conclude this webinar. So thank you to all of our panelists, and also thank you to the audience, quite a few people here, and thank you obviously to the follower cities for coming in there. And so, like I said at the beginning of this webinar, there is the Stardust final event in Pamplona on the 28th and 29th of February, and so you can go on the Stardust website and find the link to register for that. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll make the these slides available on the website. Okay, and thank you also to Elena in particular, coming from POCITYF and sharing your experiences there. Okay, thank you, and
Thank you.
goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice